Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's DragonCon's panel on evolution of the world through fashion, music, and culture. I'm very excited to have our lineup of panelists today, and I will have each of them to briefly introduce themselves right before we go into the content. So first, I'm going to have to my left, Miss Renee Cooper.
Hi, my name is Renee Cooper, and I'm actually also the uh, director of animation track. So you will see me at DragonCon and probably on a couple other panels. And I am basically 10 years in marketing, lived in Atlanta, I've done cosplay, I've done events, and I really just love seeing businesses thrive and watching the culture grow through social media and through digital media. So super happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, our next, Barr Foxx.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Barr Foxx. I am the creator and founder of Cosplay Your Way, which is an organization geared toward making sure everybody has a safe space, place, and voice in cosplay. We have our documentary that's out doing big things. It's in the Cannes Festival. It won 2 Telly Awards. And I am a television and film producer. So I've been working in many aspects of what we're talking about today, with casting to putting people on TV shows to getting a show from production onto the air, all of that wonderful stuff, working for Magic Johnson and all those great things. So hopefully I'll have something of value to say today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And next, we have
Sorry, say it again.
oh, it's your turn to introduce yourself.
Okay, it like glitched like right when you said my name. I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure I'm next. But hey guys, I'm Young Goddess Cosplay, and as you can tell, I'm a crocheter. I just have cosplay, and I've been in the industry for about been in business for about 5 or 6 years. Been in business since about 2016. So like, math is weird. 2020 doesn't count. So we're just gonna say 5 years. But I'm super excited to be on this channel. And I don't know if I have any like projects coming up. I'm kind of just like in between projects right now because I'm working on stuff, but I don't want to say nothing yet because like I have big ideas.
All right. Well, I am very excited for us to have this conversation. As we know, the world has evolved over the years, whether people want to realize it or not, because of fashion, music, and culture. So let's start off with the first part of today's theme, fashion. Now, fashion has constantly had big topics in social media and the news on several aspects because of things within the fashion industry. First of them is the use of marginalized cultures and fashion designs, from Chinese to Native American to Black culture. And a lot of times we hear, especially within Black culture, from having box braids and everything else, that it looks unprofessional, it looks unkept, but then we see it on the runway and it's given accolades and standing ovations. Um, I want to hear from the panelists, your thoughts on how fashion is both appropriating and also bringing in culture into their designs, and whether it's through appropriation or appreciation. What are your thoughts about it? And how do you think as consumers we can change um, the industry with our dollars?
Well, I can start off. I think I'm really excited about some of the stuff that I'm seeing today. In the field that I work in, years ago, you couldn't come in with natural hair. You couldn't come in just being you because you didn't think, it was like an unsaid rule that you had to have a certain look. And I'm too excited, very excited to be breaking out of those boxes. It was about time. And I think fashion and different looks of beauty have helped people to open up themselves, open up their eyes, and understand that beauty comes in a whole bunch of different looks, and it can't just be in that same little box that one or two people think it should be in. So I am looking at fashion and the people that push the envelope as groundbreakers, because if it wasn't for them, you know, people would probably still be getting, which they are, attitude with their hair at work. You know, now you have some places that's like, that's restricted. You can't do that anymore, because now these looks are becoming more common. And better than that, they're understanding that we might come in with 50 different looks in a year. My hair could be 55 different ways. It's okay. Guess what? I'm doing the work. Is the work effective? Why are you worried about if it's straight, if it's long? Because like when I get my hair cut, my hair is way longer than what it looks. I don't know if y'all can see it, but like when I get it cut, I get it blown out. And then sometimes I might go straight to work with the blowout, and they like, oh, dang, how'd you get your hair like that? But then when it curls up, so just leave it alone. If we're doing the work, let us get it done. But I think fashion has been instrumental in really opening people's eyes, even our own eyes, into what we can do. Because I know we've done some panels before about placing ourselves in boxes as well. So now that tattoos are being a little bit more accepted, earrings and stuff are being more accepted, hairstyles, the way we dress, is letting me liberate and be more of me and not try to dress the way I think somebody wants me to dress and be. And I'm all for throwing my money toward the people that's breaking through and kicking that door down, because I need it. I'm glad I got to see it in my lifetime. I'm glad I'm getting to see change evolve right in front of me. And I'm going to give fashion a kudos for that, and the fashion designers and the street fashion designers and all the different stuff that's coming into play, that's adding to the culture and doing it in a positive way and making a buzz.
I want to comment on that, because like I definitely feel like on my end, being a designer and watching the influences of everyone's culture kind of be put in the fashion industry, I would say that this is definitely like a turning point. Like it's really cool to see how people are being more widely accepted and more people are, you know, wearing their hair naturally, and people aren't asking questions as much. Like they kind of like, okay, you know, I'm gonna roll blonde today. I'm gonna open some bantu knots tomorrow. I might have locks the next couple of weeks. You're not gonna say nothing because you just know that's what I do. But I definitely like see the issue in the fashion industry when it comes to appropriation, because I'm, at least for myself, like when I start consuming high fashion or even just like street fashion or alt fashion, I find myself Googling, you know, who's the owner, who's behind scenes and stuff. Because like I remember when I think it was 2020 last year, Black Lives Matter and like African merch like just took off. People were selling it left and right. But then people were asking, you know, wait, who's selling this? And then we had a series of people being like, don't buy from them. It's a white person, don't buy from them. It's not the Black person, don't buy from them. It's not us. It's not the culture selling the culture. It's the people who are basically banking off of this culture and this movement right now, and who will drop us later. So as much as I, you know, definitely see a revolution when it comes to fashion industry and like how it is being more inclusive, I don't see that so much from a designer's perspective, where it's inclusive visually, but then when you go back like behind the scenes, it's like 4 white people and like 1 Asian girl, but they're all selling African prints, and you're just like, okay, what happened here? Because it was giving culture, but then you open the back door and now it's giving appropriation.
Yeah, I believe that everything almost comes down to the research. And I've listened to this conversation and I've been part of this conversation from a lot of different perspectives. And you know, sometimes I learn something new, but in general, I've really liked how people kind of define appreciation versus appropriation. Appreciation is really doing the research, knowing where something started, and giving props and recognition and continued recognition to that thing. So there are a lot of people out there just looking for a quick buck on Amazon, and they can print in their basement and do things like that. Or they're trying to ride the wave of some sort of trend that they see online. And that's never going to add up to the level of appreciation that a lot of people actually put into aspects of fashion. And it's hard because, yeah, again, sometimes we don't even know until we really look into who's behind it. But you see people get really up in arms about, you know, someone who's not Japanese wearing a kimono. But if you look into it, maybe they're, you know, studying it and they are doing it correctly. And it's part of their respect towards keeping that culture going, keeping that information going. We sometimes really quick to jump on like, and then they're like, oh no, but I'm really doing this for a reason. I mean, there's a whole Japanese, specifically, not just anime, but like a Japanese culture festival that's here in Georgia, multiple probably, but definitely one that's in like Duluth, North Atlanta area. And I think the same can be said for Black culture too. It's just hard because we are very possessive for good reason. You know, we don't want something to just be taken and profited off of any more than we've seen a history of our people having that happen. But we also, you know, we have to look at allies, look at who's actually kind of helping to, again, keep this going, and knowing how to come back and be like, this is who we should pay respects to for certain aspects of fashion and hairstyles that are going forward. I know that the singer who had the Bantu knots in London, or she's British.
Adele.
Yeah. Adele. Why did I forget? I was like, I had the song.
Yeah.
So when Adele came through with the Bantu knots, and like the internet was like, and between like me and my roommate, we have very, you know, she's a Taurus, I'm a Gemini Cancer. We have very different thoughts on things, but we're like best friends. And same with some people, other people I've talked to. On one hand, you're like, she is in a completely different culture, immersed in another part of culture that a lot of Black people don't even get to see all of the time. So, I mean, if she's paying the respects and we don't know the whole situation, sometimes it works out and it brings more visibility. But what does suck is that her bringing visibility may reciprocate into someone who's not willing to do the research, who doesn't have that level of connection to a culture, or the Black culture, the Caribbean culture that even exists in Britain. And it's just like, now I'm going to do it. And they're like, I did it because Adele did it. And that's what kind of hurts sometimes when we see that level of like, bloop, bloop. It doesn't really, there is no insert Black person here to recognize. It was like, I did it because Adele did it. And Adele did it because Miley Cyrus did it. Miley Cyrus did it because this, and it skews the history of it. So anything that kind of skews that history is kind of upsetting, but I like to try to recognize and not jump too hard on people who do seem like they're trying to point it back at the original culture and the original group that created something.
So you're saying the originators get lost after a amount of time, you know, one person does it, another person does it. Now they think Adele came up with it, like I guess Madonna with Vogue. They was like, Madonna came up with Vogue.
Exactly.
And
like even new, like Charlie with TikTok dances. Like this is this still happens now. So like we've just been.
I would say the biggest thing though is like it's less of like, you know, I have a white friend, I'm gonna give her Bantu knots, and then we're gonna take pictures and post on Instagram. I think people forget that like the people we're mentioning have heavy influence. Because like Adele, to me, when I saw that being a Caribbean, I was like, oh, this is giving a big Bo Derek vibe. Because mind you, braids and cornrows weren't really a popular thing until Bo Derek wore it, and then all of a sudden everyone's like, oh my God, braids, cornrows. While in the same breath, they're still just like, okay, Black people, you can't wear it, but cornrows on white folks will accept it. But if you're Black, you can't do that. So it's for me, like, it always depends on, like, you know, your influence to the culture. Because, like, if she wore, because, like, I feel like also got confused, like, if she wore, specifically Adele, if she wore the Bantu knots and posted pictures and then posted, like, the designer who did it with her, that would have been appreciation. That would have been like, hey, they let me do this. They put me in this. Go give this designer, this hairstylist your money. But because it was just kind of her wearing that, it gave more appropriation, at least to me, because I'm just like, okay, cool. Now Jessica over here in Swanee is going to be in the bathroom trying to figure out how she could get her Adele knots, not realizing they call Bantu knots. And we're going to look at her crazy next week because we're going to be like, where'd you see that? She's like, well, Adele wore it. And just like, okay. And the thing with Charlie, yeah, like the thing with Charlie though is like it's more malicious just because in the TikTok community, like when you learn a dance, you have to look at the original video to learn the dance. So there's no way that she could look at a dance, do it and then be like, I don't know, guys, I just saw my For You page and I liked it. And then now she's literally make so much money off of it. So
I mean, I'm a little embarrassed to say that my favorite drink at Dunkin' Donuts is the Charlie, and I've tried every single time to remember how to order it without asking for the Charlie, and it's very difficult, but it's definitely a goal of mine, and I'm going to make it happen. But the fact that she got a drink named after her, but
Yeah,
I mean,
so,
so
like,
we got like a McDonald's, but like I don't hear any
did
other.
you see how much work the girl who did the Renegade dance did to get her dance copyrighted so that when people use it, they have to pay her now?
Yeah.
She had to go through so many hoops, and like an Ellen show, still didn't get any money from it. And she's just like one of like, I don't know how many different Black TikTokers.
Yeah.
And like, it just, for me, it just gives big appropriation when it comes to people that have influence, because you're going to do it, people are going to see you, and then the next generation is going to be sitting here and be like, oh my gosh, I love, big long nails and big ass hoop earrings. I saw Billie Eilish wear it, and then we're gonna look at them like, okay, so you don't know who TLC Y2K is? Y'all need to like start bringing up names and throwing back to like the originators.
So I'm in a different space with this. I agree to a certain degree, but because I work in the industry and we're trying new looks and new things, I totally understand, but sometimes we're just chasing trends. Sometimes we're just, getting on the boat that's rolling right now. This is in, these jeans are in, this shirt is in, this hair color is in. And when they come in, a lot of the artists and people don't even, I get what you're saying, they don't know necessarily what they're going to get, if that makes sense. That we hire the hairdressers, we hire the stylists sometimes. They don't have a clue. They just there, and we want a certain look. And a lot of times it's not them, it's the producers or the network or whatever that hired them, and we want a certain look. So I do agree with you, Renee, that I know we don't want to take a minute to breathe and say, hey, what happened? Let's look behind us a little. But everybody, the stories are just a little iffy sometimes, because a lot of these artists or these big stars don't have a clue. Now, some of them do, but some just don't have a clue because they came in and somebody like me was like, this is the look I want for Renee. And you getting your check. So you sit there and you take it and you come out and you have this hair and this style and this dress. And unless it's something that goes against your personal lifestyle or something against you and it's too risque, you don't really fight back. You just do it to get it done. So I do want to kind of like pull back on some of the, not the Charlie person, but some of the people like Adele and other people that, get hairstyles and different things that they're trying and pushing a new look and trying to be sexy and, trying to just really connect to the audience today, because it's hard. It's really hard staying connected to people in the next generation under you and the next generation under that. You can get forgotten about easily. So again, I'm not making excuses for them. I just want people that are listening today to understand that sometimes with music, sometimes with hairstyle, sometimes with the way we're dressed, a lot of the artists don't really know until they have it on, and they're just trying to get in there, hit their mark and get out. And then a lot of backlash happens sometimes, and they didn't prepare. So it is about being educated. So I'm loving that fashion and hairstyles and stuff, now they are noticing and recognizing beautiful Black people and where stuff originated. And that needs to be done more. So I want that to be done more. So when people do see stuff, they won't think that, the new TikTok 14-year-old white girl came up with it, and they will understand or think past that. I want that so badly. I push that. I even tell people, even if I don't know, I say, hey, well, where did it originate? Just to get them thinking, just to get me thinking, because a lot of times since I've grown up in this world where you get on something and you find out that that was done somewhere else and done better and well, you're like, oh, especially in this industry, all the artists take something. We bring videos in, we bring clips in. We're like, this artist was hot. Look at this, emulate this video, follow this. So it's not them a lot of times. So I know we get mad because they're the face, but that's why they make the big bucks sometimes, because they take all the backlash, because they they just get their butt kicked, and it's not them all the time. A lot of times it's the count. So just, I say what, everybody feel you how you're going to feel, but just a little.
I mean, I'm not going to be anti-Adele right now, but I do appreciate what you're saying. And I think that that's what is very necessary in a lot of aspects of things, is that just, even if it's not the celebrity themselves who has definitely like their thought and they're doing a thing, but there's a lot of people around them who help them create their art, and they're getting influence from somewhere. So as long as, and we as the consumers tend to always just enjoy sometimes a lot going at it really negatively and being like, well, and pointing fingers. Sometimes it's just cathartic for us. But if we take the time to say, this looks very influenced by this, and then you bring up, marginalized or lesser known celebrity or lesser known artist who may have done a thing, it is a good opportunity, like you were saying, to show homage back to what somebody else who created.
I'm also like, I know I'm personally like coming hot off the heels of researching CNN, because they have been deep in it with ripping off indie artists, specifically Black crochet artists, African crochet artists, and doing that research is it's like right in the front of my brain, because I'm just like seeing, you can literally just be like, hey, I like you, come join my company, we'll have a whole section for you. But instead they just copy paste, and I'm just like, you could just add the extra seat to the table, but you just like, no, I'm gonna just steal some food, steal some French fries when you're not looking, and then act surprised when you realize your French fries are stolen.
Yeah. Now I love the fact that you brought that up. Go ahead, Barr.
I was gonna say, I, as much as I think I'm well versed and I'm always can get educated, I was working on a Juneteenth project for National Geographic. And, I thought I was going in with all this knowledge and that I knew what was going on. But as I did more research for it, and as we got closer to airing, I was like, oh my God. For the first time it hit me, all of these Black inventors, all of these Black people invented and created this stuff. And then I was like, how did they do that? But I was like, they were the only ones working. They were the only ones doing stuff. So of course,
someone's like, hey, we need a traffic light. We don't know what that is, but can you this keeps happening and like we can't figure it out.
Right.
And we're not gonna can you guys? And they're like, oh, it works.
So I'm like, that's what happened. So we are just amazing people. And honestly, it's not too, I know people are gonna say, shut up. It's not too much to think that majority of the things that are good and popular came from us. Because
but like, you're not wrong though. Because like, when people say what have like Black people contributed, I just say everything until proven otherwise. Like, it is a short list of things we haven't done. I'm just like, oh, okay, traffic light. Like even AAPI, I think their whole alarm system is based off of a Black woman.
Like,
doorknob.
Yeah, the doorknob. That's why I'm just like, what happened?
Air conditioning.
I'm like,
Air
everything.
conditioning.
Everything.
Why is everybody so
Maybe
hot and
not
stuck
man-made.
inside of a door all the time? I need to change this. I want to go outside, but when I'm inside, I want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Other people are just like, no, we're fine. We're fine. Black people are like, we're not okay.
White people were like, ooh, I got the vapors. We're like, it's too hot.
Put the hair up. We got to get out of here.
We needed to make it, we were working, so we needed to make it easier for us to get the work done. And I love that, but I hate that so many people didn't get their just dues. But I am impressed with the amount of Black people that got their patents. That's probably because they didn't know their color when they sent in for it.
Oh yeah.
But thank you for that, and thank you for that anonymity, and for them to go on record. Because other people would have erased that if they could have.
They sure enough would have. Like with the light bulb.
That also goes back to why we do get very possessive of things, because there's a history always of people trying to erase or diminish. And even, living in this great culture and time that we are in right now, like you see it on the internet all the time, people in passing, under their breath, even in real life, like there are just things that just remind you how some people just haven't changed and how they still see us differently. So, I mean, I'm very thankful that Just hit them with a
So
doorknob.
go take their doorknobs off. So they're like, you don't like us? Dude, try to get out.
Fine. You don't like these doorknobs either. But I think that's why. Like I know that's why. Like if there's ever a gut reaction to things, it's because we're like, oh, again, and we just want to make sure that it doesn't happen. And thankfully now there is so much support from I think coming together of different cultures and white people, like just everybody are like really noticing that like trying not to continue that from happening.
Yeah, it's kind of tying into it. It's like of the history, because we have seen it so often, 10, 15 years ago, that all of a sudden you see these fashion magazines. Oh my goodness, newest style with braiding your hair like this. It is called this, and Black people like, those are cornrows.
It's a track. It's a track. It's a track.
That's TikTok.
You do know weave was made by a Black woman, right? And that's all.
But this one has
right
glue,
there.
and you have
track.
It's a track.
It's still a track.
Shout out to that TikToker. I don't know their name, but that was a great TikTok.
So it's really up for us to, when somebody does originate or when something comes out and we know the actual history of that or how it originated, don't be afraid to put it out there on social media, put the facts out there, let it get at least mixed in with the other stuff, and hopefully it'll grow. And hopefully other people will say, wait a minute, this is going back before this person did it last month. Oh yeah, it actually happened 20 years ago, 60 years ago, 100 years ago. So I think that's our responsibility as consumers and people of color to not let our voices get drowned because of, like you said, so many things have been erased, so many things have happened, and we tend to double down because we want to be like, this is ours. But at the same time, we just gotta finesse it and make sure we get it in the right spaces and we create the buzz to let people know, you know what, good even if you go in and say, great imitation of this, I love the way they did it, just like we did it back in put those conversations out there to interject the origins, because that's what I try to do that sometimes. I'm like, oh my God, I love this. It was so good when I saw so-and-so do it.
Like, I'm getting so-and-so vibes from this. Oh, you should check them out too.
Yeah,
do you follow them too? They're my favorite.
Do you follow them? Right.
My favorite thing on TikTok is like when someone obviously like rips off another other Black creators like things, and then people just spam the comments with the creators at, and they don't stop until they like re-upload the video with the credit to this. And it's funny because like whenever people like I've seen people like just turn off their comments completely because they're relentless. They're just like, oh, did you credit? Oh my God, did you credit? Okay, but like, did you credit though? But like, did you credit? And like the people that turn off their comments usually end up like never posting like another video sometimes for a while. And I'm kind of just like, you could have just re-uploaded the video and gave credit to the creator that you just copied. But now look at you, comments off, page obsolete for the next 3 months because if you post another video, Black TikTok is gonna be like, oh my God, did you credit? But like, did you credit though? But did you? Okay, now I'm gonna tag it for you, and like, you could credit. Like, you could just give credit. Like, you could just give credit.
It is very strange, especially knowing how social media works, that somebody would miss out on an opportunity to connect with somebody who they were inspired by, because you can turn that whole narrative into an inspiration. I see artists do it all the time. And like, I don't do anything really artsy with my hands and stuff. So like, but if someone's like, oh, I redrew this character, or especially if it's like an original character or something, it's not just like, this is Disney or this is, Cartoon Network. Like, this is something very original or something very much aligned that you saw. Now, if you didn't see it and you can legitimately say like, oh my gosh, that's weird, say that. But if you're on the internet, like, you could know. And if people will start talking to you about it, at least keep that conversation going. It helps with your engagement as well.
I think what, like, it goes back to what I mentioned earlier about the inclusion part of it. Because like, I remember there was like one girl on TikTok. I spend a lot of time on TikTok, like a lot. But well, not really girl, they're non-binary. They had did a dish on cosplay, and it took off on TikTok. Like they got like over 1 million views on it because it was right around the time when WandaVision was done, and like we all saw him with the turtleneck, and we're just like, okay, y'all Photoshop the gold chain on. We know what we're doing with this, and they cosplayed it, and the video was like, getting up there, like I think 1,000. I think it has like 2,000 views now on TikTok. But I remember I messaged them, and I'm just like, hey, I made like a Vishon plush. Do you mind if I duet your video? Because I know if I duet it, the odds of it doing really well is high because the video already is like up there in millions of views. So I don't want you to be like, oh my gosh, he just duetted my video. He didn't credit me. He's just going to use this to promote her thing. So I wanted to make sure first that wasn't like misinterpreted. And they were just like, yeah, sure, go for it. Tag me. Like, I want to see like people like lose their mind over a plushie and my cosplay. And it was great because like, I was like, hey, now that I've opened the door, I kind of want to collab with you more because we both just got like 500,000 views. Like you got 1 million, I got 500,000. We're both doing great. I want to do more of this. And I don't understand why companies don't do that. Why they don't just reach out and be like, hey, I saw your thing, you're doing really well. Can we work together? Because if they see that I'm working with you, now we're like this, and now everybody want to come to us versus what y'all currently doing.
I like again what you're saying. In a perfect world, I would love that. Unfortunately it doesn't work like that right now. Not to say that it can't change. People are not trying to say, for instance, I'm sitting in my office with my group of people, and they see something that looks inventive. The first thought is to find somebody with a bigger name or something and create it yourself, because a lot of that stuff is not owned per se. Somebody did it, but they didn't own it. So recreating it and doing it, and everybody think we're going to do it better, is the thought process that happens. So you come in and you tell yourself you're going to do it a little different. Renee did it with red hair. We're going to do it with blue hair, and it's going to be different. And unfortunately, that's the thought process. So that's what happens. So it eliminates a lot of contracts. It eliminates a lot of talking. It eliminates a lot of money going out for something that is not an intellectual property that you own per se. It's a concept and an idea that people can tap into. And in some instances, we're just not trying to come and pay you for that when, I have Yarn Goddess that can do it as well. And she can put on different hair. It's not the right thing to do all the time, but it's.
I was gonna say that just sounds like steps, but most with more steps though, because like to me it bothers me because like you already see it, like someone could have their unlicensed intellectual property borrowed, and yet Charlie D'Amelio could be up here with making like actual money in a living. So I'm kind of just like, what's different here? What is like different?
The legal team marketing gets involved, legal gets involved. I know I'm like, people are probably like, shut up, Barr, Foxx, you just saying all this stuff, but I'm just trying to give people real life thought process.
I mean,
well, it still helps to have someone on the inside to explain it, because like it's not justifying it. It's just being like, hey, here are how things are done. Here are all the things that need to be fixed. Here's how we can do better. Because you can't really have a problem if you don't know what the problem is.
You don't know
exactly.
But if you explain it like that, it's kind of like, okay, well, this is wrong. No.
And there are like a lot of things. There are a lot of things that if you try to get too, in the weeds with it, it would be impossible to do anything creative because everybody has done some aspect of it before. So yeah, I'm sure from a larger marketing perspective now, like especially now with social media, and if the goal is to be seen doing a thing, like it is harder and harder, and people are getting called out more if they do it. If a big company does it, I mean, just look at Dolls Kill. Like whenever they do anything fashion, and fashion is like, to me, we're still talking about fashion, it's hard to like claim that. But there is also a history of Dolls Kill doing things. I say this, and but there's a history of certain brands, not to call them out specifically, but we all know certain brands doing that sort of thing. And something someone I was talking to recently was kind of like, is there a history of this kind of like malcontent that they're doing and not supporting? And then the next time they do it, it just adds on to this, versus them starting to actually work with, like having the idea to work with some smaller businesses to either collaborate or however they can do it within their realm. It obviously is not going to work with everything, and there are definite ways to make things look different without it being so blatant. But again, it just comes back around to where the support lies. Unfortunately, every time McDonald's does a thing, they can't tag every creator that they see doing it because that would take so long. But
part of me just wishes there was a way for companies to just like take a breath for a second and actually like think about what they're doing, because there's some things that are so unique and specific. It's kind of like when Fortnite was getting a lot of flack for their dances and their emotes, and Black creators were just like, "That's Snoop Dogg's dance. We been saw that." And it's like, even though he he didn't trademark it or anything, it's just the dance that we all know from his music video. Fortnite, I think at some point, got into a lot of trouble because we were just like, "Hey, we know those dances." And it's also getting to accessibility and the know-how for like how to even patent and copyright stuff, because that's a whole nother legal thing to be able to copyright something. And when you're creative, I can already tell you, when I'm head down working, I'm not thinking about the legality of what I'm going to post and who's going to be able to steal it or not later. But it's just interesting how like we talk about this, but for some reason, the only people that really have a really big issue with it are Black people. And I'm just like, okay, this can't just be the industry is moving too fast. It can't just be, oh, you don't have any like legal right over your intellectual property. You guys are normally going into a culture that's vulnerable and yet very fruitful for you.
So another issue, again, that I'm not making an excuse for, is finding out the definitive originator of stuff. We had a scenario, I was working on some things, and I thought I found the first Black female race car driver, because she said she was the first Black female race car driver. But as we did more research, we found out that another woman was the first Black NASCAR driver. So after we found that out after I put her commercials out, pushing her, because I bought into it. So finding the originator sometimes.
You gotta be like one of.
What?
We had to update it, but everybody wants the first title because the first title is impressive. You're the very first one. So, that just kind of threw us for a loop. And it was a lesson for us, like you said, to kind of slow down, but we still move at a fast pace. And I was like, oh my God, when people claim to be the first at something, I really kind of push that to the side for a little bit longer to do more research, because people lie or they don't know that they're not the first sometimes. It's just a matter of dates and things. So it takes a lot of research. So when it's something that you can't just look at and you feel like nobody owns it, people have a tendency to just jump on it. Again, not the greatest thing, but you're like, hey, the first driver you can't take. That's who it is. Point blank. That's legally, that's in the record. But if it's a dance or a look, fashion, hairstyle, unless somebody definitively did something and it's undeniably their style and they walked in the door and it's the first time you saw it, it's really hard to just hold on to it. But some people have, and kudos to those people that have, and I hope more people will in the future, because when you create something, you hate to see it taken away from you and you have no claims to it. That's happened to me before. It just makes you want to cry. It really does.
Oh my gosh. I remember when fidget spinners became a thing, and I learned that there was like a mom who created it like years before and tried to sell it to Mattel or something, or Hasbro. And then like it just became this sensation kind of like without her. And it's always been a case study of mine to just say, like, even though kind of on those lines, I think she actually did have a patent or something for it, but once it had like lapsed, that's when big companies were like, Mah. But but be proud of the things that you do, even if you can't like legally say I did this. Like if you have the receipts, if you can go back and show your sorry, I just became a walking meme. If you can go back and show like, your documentation, not even like printed, but like pictures, videos, like that you've been in this game and in this hustle or in this business for a while, and you are just very dedicated to kind of like your group of people who support you, that means something. Because if I had known that this one woman had created, I mean, I don't know that I would have bought like a bunch, but I may have bought one, you know, like it would have, it would have made me want to support someone closer to like a growing business or not just big business. Because ultimately sometimes smaller businesses, like they tap out at some points, like it's just a lot. Like once they get a lot of people who are interested in them, you can see, you know, case in point, like my hairdresser, like if she's booked, I can't go to her. But if I need to go to her, like, you know, if somebody's making costumes or making, you know, jewelry and they are just like, they're good, they're doing great and they're tapped out, like you're like, what do I do now? But you kind of we want more people to be in that sort of situation so that when we can support them, we can, but they're like have an overabundance of support. But you know, I would always just say like, be proud and keep documentation of what you do, because even if you're not the first, if you're doing something really great and you just happen to be the first of something, people do take note of that and want to support that.
Like Yarn Goddess said, as a creative, you just be in the zone. And you really do need, like, you honestly are like, all right, I got to get this done. All right, oh, cool. I'm going to do it, release it next week. In 2 weeks, I got a month. And unfortunately, if you don't have that business brain turned on because you're in a creative brain, or you don't have somebody sitting next to you that's on top of that, it just falls through the cracks. And then you just become concerned with deliverables and presentation and putting it out and getting it out there. And you miss those things that you're talking about that's important to do. When I used to work in music, everybody kept forgetting to do their split sheets. Everybody forgot to do their split sheets. So when the record would come out, you know, I'm like, well, I wrote that hook. And they're like, well, I did second verse, or I wrote the bridge, but nobody wrote down who did it while we were there. So now it became like this fight in there of what percentage of it that we're getting. And I just want to restate what you were saying, Renee, like, please take a moment, take a day, pick a Thursday, whatever. I know you can't do it every day because it's like when we're in the zone, we're in the zone, but take a Thursday, Wednesday, something and do your admin stuff. Please.
Yeah. Even if you're just recording into your phone, because like, believe me, I am the same. Like, I never used to do cosplay progress pics. Like, I just want to get the thing done so I could wear it one time and throw it away the next. But like, you know, now you literally have a camera on your phone and you could just take a moment. You don't have to post the TikTok and do all that stuff, but just record yourself and like, well, it's Sunday night, I just did all this stuff and I'm really proud of it, and talk to you, even if you're talking to yourself, because you can always go back and publish it later, or at least you just have something that's a timestamp. I tried streaming for like 25 days. I made it to like 14. It's a lot. Like creating content for other people is so much, but I have a lot of stuff on my phone that I'm just like, I mean, no one wants it. It's selfies of myself, but like, you know, it's things that I've done, it's places I've been, it's people, sometimes even at cons, like, you know, guests that I was able to take a picture with that I just like, I don't know if I'm going to post this, I'm just going to have it. But, you know, even proof of doing things like this can be helpful down the line if you ever just need to like show somebody for, you know, continuing what you want to do. So don't always feel like when you get content, you have to post it, but just immediately, but just have it and save it.
I mean, I just
did creators though.
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say, I feel like for
have it again.
I'm quick. I just did a con recently, and I was telling a young lady, let me shoot you at your table and stuff for your decks in the future when you are putting your stuff together for other cons and other people to look at you. Now I can show what your table and your display look like, and you can put it in the deck. And she was like, what? I didn't know that. And I'm like, yeah, these are the things that you do. So I was just doubling down on what you were saying, but go ahead, Yarn Goddess.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I feel like when it comes like first graders, like especially right now, because I definitely want to plant the fact that like I feel like with social media paired with, you know, the Ponderosa, the community press, whatever you want to call it, we don't really have like that outlet outside of social media as much anymore. Because I remember before, like I would like make something. I think I forget what plush I was working on, but like I had made a plush I think like 2019. And I remember I posted like a picture online, and I'm just kind of like, hey, this is going to be at that con. And I will go to a convention. People will see that and be like, oh my gosh, I could see, I can touch, I can order it and all that. And I feel like, especially right now with creatives, because we aren't traveling, we really can't travel, and because like our only real gratification is through social media right now, because it's half the country still shut down. We are quicker to go to social media because we're just kind of like, hey, look at what I just made, look at what I just made. Like, no, TikTok audio, don't mess with my acrylics, don't mess with my interior design. It's that, and then like the Barr said, it's your business brain is turned off because you're still in creative mode, and part of the creative mode is being able to be like, look what I made, just appreciate it, don't take it, just appreciate it. And then later you're trying to figure out why someone stole your plush pattern. You're just like, I just wanted y'all to appreciate it. I didn't want you to steal it yet. But it is, as a kid, kind of go from like creative gratification, business, legal, come back, and then make the post. But I really feel like right now it's really hard for creatives to like not just get back to like TikTok or Facebook or whatever, because we're just like, oh my God, I just took like 12 hours. I got all the documentation. I did everything. I just want to show you guys what I was working on at 4 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday afternoon. Okay, awesome. Thank you for like, now don't take my shit.
But that's the thing. Once it's on the internet, it's gone.
Yeah.
Didn't someone in I'm gonna guess China, I don't know, stole the Cosplay Your Way logo? Because they had, I remember seeing the and I remember thinking you made it. I mean, that's how you know you make it, is when a factory in China just steals your stuff
and put it on better stuff than I had.
They're like, you want some hot air balloon? You're like, I do want that. I'm gonna order that, but it's mine though. But it's yours. I mean, we have,
and that's one of the things that is a little definitive, because it's a specific logo and it's a copyrighted logo. So when you have that logo on some other stuff that I don't know about, it's I can stop them or send cease and desist letters and stuff. But again, you're right. I mean, we woke up one day and there it was, looking for sale. I had to take a minute and say, what is this? Like, did I do this?
I will pat myself in the back. I'll be like, oh my God, you guys, come look at this. I've made it in the industry, guys. Someone's in the copy. They're trying to take my stuff. I would screenshot it. I would have framed it. Be like, the day I got my stuff stolen, June 1st, 1903.
Then June 2nd, you would have been like, anyway, so cease and desist.
Yes.
But yeah, it's
I mean, it's a compliment.
It's out there, it's hard.
It's a compliment, but at the same time, if I hadn't put certain things in place, certain things could happen. I mean, they come for your website. It's amazing. They come for your websites. Somebody sent me a screenshot of my registration, trademark registration. So I was like, why did you look that up? So different things happen, and you got to have that friend or turn on that brain, because I'm one of those people, I miss it. I'm like, let's do it, let's practice, let's work, let's have fun. And that admin brain I don't have on a lot of the times. So luckily I have a few people around that's like, did you do this? Because that's who they are. Their brain, their admin.
I definitely feel like in the community, especially the creative community, there needs to be a discussion about how to patent and copyright your stuff.
Yes.
Because like outside of financial accessibility, because like I have my patents copyrighted and it hurts my wallet every so often. But you can't like legally take me. I can actually like see you, kind of fun. But I feel like, especially like for specifically indie designers, I'm not sure if there's like a, hey, come sit down in this class so you can figure out how to get your stuff like not stolen, or at least have a legal route to like take when someone tries you.
Sounds like a panel.
I was about to say panel, Dana.
Yeah.
Panel.
Yeah, like it's
I just learned it's EFF. I can't remember what it stands for, but they have a lot of legal panels and like activism panels this year. A lot of them are virtual, but they have some in person. Please don't ask what EFF stands for, but they post on Sherman posted it on like the Black Nerds Facebook if you want to see it. By the time this is live,
Yeah.
you probably already at the con, but you could probably see the schedule there. But they had a lot. I was very surprised to see all like the very cool legality panels that are there. But that would make a great panel, or something that like a chamber of commerce or something in an area may also promote, as long as you don't also have to be part of that chamber of commerce, but maybe some sort of digital class that may be offered.
I think it needs to be with somebody that can do it in layman's terms, because a lot of those classes, so people get so much in the technical terms and everything, they forget the people in the audience have no clue. They're coming to your class to learn, and you're hitting them like, well, with the hypotenuse right here, and you go, and they're looking at you like,
Yeah.
And we're
I just want to
nerds,
know
so we're
how
like,
I trademark myself.
what is the
No, but
website and what are the answers?
Do I
So
push?
it is that though, because like I know for me personally, when it comes to crochet, it's I don't say it's easy to clock a sew and design, but it is, because the main kicker about crochet is the fact that like it cannot be machine made. It's just something about the way it's woven and weft. There's no way to get a machine to recreate it. So when someone steals your design, you could easily, like I have gone to, I think, was it Fashion Nova's website, taken the image, Google search it, and found the original creator like that. And I want, because like again, Shein right now, they're currently under fire because they keep stealing crochet patterns or crochet designs. I want people to at least have access to a class so they could potentially learn how to copyright their patterns and designs, because crochet, I'm just really passionate about crochet. You guys know I'm the yarn goddess, but like it's just interesting how like this particular craft that cannot be man-made anywhere is being produced by large companies and stolen specifically from like vulnerable groups like African crocheters and designers or African American crochet designers. And I'm kind of just like, okay, this went from oopsie daisy to malicious really fast. What can we do? And then, like, you know, Barr mentioned, y'all got to stop for a second, think about the legal stuff, and then come to our DragonCon panel about how to copyright and trademark your stuff in layman terms. So,
Yes. And I love how you talked about that, because that's definitely something I wanted to lead into, because, you know, that's been a hot topic, is how people are really talking about the real impact of fast fashion industry of the world. Of course, as you mentioned, the discussion of how fast fashion like Fashion Nova and Shein are stealing from marginalized creators. But at the same time, we also hear from especially plus size people that have to buy from the industry. Fast fashion is a godsend, because they're getting it for cheap, versus everywhere else they're asking for a pair of pants for 80, 90 bucks, but they can get it over here for 12. What, you know, Yarn got us started talking about Fashion Nova, but I would love to hear your thoughts on the fast fashion, and, you know, the positives and negatives of it, and how also as us as consumers can help better that world through our dollars.
So I'd like to start by saying I think I'm wearing a Shein shirt. I didn't know we were going to go here, but
yeah, I got myself my little, like, you know, small creator.
I know I should have
right
I had something better for this next panel. I'm going to wear something more local. But I do have thoughts on this, and I've kind of complained about this secretly, but now it's out to the open. And I've already touched on it before. When smaller businesses or indie creators really do have a capacity, and I always want that for them, because I want them to be at the peak of whatever business they can get out. But at some point, couture and indie fashion gets either very expensive or very rare. So you do, you know, especially if it's for like clothes or something you wear, like it sometimes makes sense, and with the timing, to go to a bigger business that just has the resources. But it is still, like we had discussed at the very beginning, it is very unfortunate to see an exact pattern of something that is being reproduced the other way. I've seen where there's couture of things that, couture of things that are bigger brands. So like if someone made a couture, leather jacket or something that they can make through textiles on their own locally, that's really cool. But like I could also get a leather jacket somewhere else. But if I could get a leather jacket from a local indie artist, I would do my best to do that. But the trade-off is it's very expensive and the quantity may not be there. But if it is,
and the sizing too,
and the sizing. So like if those things are available and they meet a lot of the criteria of my budget, of me being able to buy a lot, like we see some, like there are plus size models working it with some adorable stuff, and like the visibility of being able to see people of different sizes and different colors and even different like socioeconomic status really rocking really great fashion is the plus side to it. But again, yeah, there's always the, well, why couldn't it go back? Why couldn't it have started from the indie creator and go up? So it's hard.
I will argue though that like the only reason why bigger creators or bigger businesses are even able to offer lower prices is because they have resources. Because indie creators charge the way they do because it's like them and like maybe their grandma and maybe their cousin who wants to come in twice a week, and they gotta charge what they gotta charge because they're creating everything. And bigger businesses have shown us time and time again that they can steal design, mass produce it, drop the price by like 80%. So my question is, why aren't they just being like, hey, you see your design, we like you. Can you come work with us? Like, keep designing. We'll just give you the resources now. So now you have a team of 50 people. You can still get, your stuff paid for, and you could get to collab with us now. And ta-da! Now you can actually sell this like, really awesome contour piece or couture piece for $15 versus $80, because now you actually have access to the resources to produce it at a lower cost.
I mean, I guarantee that they could pay a handful of indie designers the same that they pay maybe like one major designer and it even out. I mean, we know that there's money in the world to like trade that off. It's just whether or not a big business like Jabbar had said even wants to do that. So we know it's like the better thing to do, but they don't want to do it, but they should do it. You're right.
Yeah, no, I just look like they should do it, because like my thing is like I'm not plus size, but like if I see my friends are able to have access to plus size clothing, but then I see my same friends who are designing plus size clothing get erased by the company who's stealing from other plus size designers, I'm kind of just like, well, what was the point? Like, I thought the point was to include us completely, not just give us stuff, but then at the same time, if you start a plus size business, you're not going to make it very far, because the moment Cian decides, hey, Renee, I like your outfit, I'm going to take it. Now you over here like, okay, well, my goal was to include plus size fashion, but I guess Cian did it better than me, so I guess I'll just shut down shop and y'all can have it.
But see, there's a lot of things I don't think they can do. They can do it cheaper, faster, with more resources, but the human aspect you will get more when you're working with someone who's indie, and that is why you want to continue to help promote and support that. We will do things out of convenience, but we will also do things out of a support for the community. And again, it's just a trade-off sometimes between our dollars and what we're able to do. So hopefully not going too far, but there's a shoe company I follow. I think I'm not going to say it right. It starts with a K, and she makes brown nude shoes, like a range of brown nude shoes. And she just made a statement very similar to this about how it goes back to her mission statement of she knows that her shoes are expensive, but she knows that this is also like a really well-made shoe. So she wanted to be available for an assortment of different people. And I thought it was a very good, it was very good for her to speak out of that, because I'm sure she was probably getting some backlash to make that statement, but it's the same thing. She is kind of a smaller, I wouldn't say indie creator or even small, but like she's not big business, but she has a very couture indie item that is still kind of not priced for the group of people you would think that would want it. But she wanted to make it clear that this is probably a shoe that you're going to have for a long time, but a lot of work goes into it to even make it at the, it is. You'd be surprised how hard it is for, I guess, European and made it in Chinese people to understand what there's different shades of brown. So there's a lot of work that goes into it, but
I think I know who you're talking about. She was on my show about her business. So
she makes the high heel pumps.
The pumps, the nude shoe and stuff. So
yes.
amazing work. I love what she does. I wanted to add, I'm kind of, again, unfortunately, in that those two lanes. Like one side, since I have family members that are tall, and I have some plus size people in my family. Back in the day, they were absolutely charged double just for a pair of jeans or a shirt. It's like somebody act like, oh, it's more material, so we're gonna pay more. And I'm like, how could this be that much more than the other stuff? So
and then they only give you two to three designs.
Yes.
That you have to choose from, and that's it.
And everybody's in the same
I got a
job.
big bone to pick with the fashion industry. So I'm just like,
so I hated that. So I was actually happy when some other stores came out and then the price dropped and they were able to reproduce stuff for plus size and tall. Because I have people that's women that's over 6 feet, 6'2", 6'3" in my family, these shoes. So we needed that because we had to pay so much to get stuff. Now, what I do is for my special things, going to events, going to the celebrity parties or whatever, I love working with the indie creators. I love giving them that shine. If somebody cares to ask me what I'm wearing when I show up to my events, I love to shout out that name of this person, to try to put them on the map, to try to give them some buzz, or get somebody to ask me who. I constantly send people to them to get work for special events. Now, the ideal and the concept, like you're saying, Yarn Goddess, is to get them, why not work with them? Why not bring them into the company if they're willing and ask them to work with you? But, you know, of course, that brings a lot of issues of them trying to take your brand in. You work for them and something you were doing before, now they own in a way and control, and it gets really convoluted. But in a perfect world, it could work, and I would be down for that as well. But it's up to us, as you stated, Renee, to make sure we get that personal touch and get those indie people and indie creators work. Get them work, but understand that we do want convenience as well. So if I just need to go to Miami next week and we just want to grab some quick stuff, we're going to go to some of those stores that have the sizes and the variety, and it's not as costly, so we can try to spend more money on the beach. But we're just always running with this duality, and it's never perfect, but you know, some of us try to devise some type of math that works out. And not that mine is the best, but that's how I try to do it. You know, really minor things, big stores, really special events, indie creators, and then I try my best to shout them out and push it so people can know they're on the map. I hope I'm helping.
And my thing also is, I always look at it as like, if you're willing to pay $300 for a Louis Vuitton or something like that, but you're not willing to pay $300 from that shoemaker that gives you that same quality, I that's the part I don't understand. It's like, why are you willing to pay for this that tends to be more mass produced, but you're not willing to pay that same much for a smaller business that has the same quality as that? That always blows my mind. It's like, you want to, they want to deal and price negotiate and everything with the indie creators, but then you'll pay as soon as that new Dolce & Gabbana come out. It's like you're right there to pay that $600 for it. It's like, make it make sense.
Leaders and followers. I used to have I used to spend a lot of money on designer stuff. I was just crazy. Oh, designer. Oh, yeah. Until my cousin came up to me one day and he was like, why are you paying to wear somebody else's brand on your body? And I was like, huh? And he was like, I mean, you're paying all this money just to wear, it's like wearing a brand. And I was like, I get where you're coming from. So although I still like some designer things, you know, I definitely went away from the big logos and stuff. And then I started going to the consignment shops and the thrift stores and started having more fun because I was creating and putting looks together that were more dynamic. So I think it's question about, I don't want to make it seem like it's so black and white, but followers and leaders. And a lot of the followers or people that want to be recognized for what they're wearing, they're going to spend the money on the name brand because it's a few people that's going to say, wow, you're wearing blah, blah, blah. That's Chanel. Oh, that's Christian Dior. And they want that, as opposed to finding something that fits their body, that works, that they look fantastic in, and pin that's customized for their body, which, you know, you should pay for. And they will rather spend something mass produced than something like that. And that's following and not understanding your body and not understanding your dollars to the best of your ability, and kind of just not wanting to not be trending, I guess.
But I've never I've never met Louboutin or Christian Dior or Chanel, but like I've met Rachel, you know, like I've met you know, my friend Ginger, who has her line in LA. Like, to me, to me, that is the new of wearing a brand name or wearing a brand, is I can say, I have met this person, someone I know made this thing that I am wearing, or made this thing that I have like part of my costume, or that's in my house on display. Like, my friends are talented. Like, I like that trade-off.
Look how blessed you are to have friends that are doing stuff. Let's be honest, a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people don't have someone that has elevated to that level to make something, so they don't know how to take, or they haven't been introduced into taking that pride into someone around them and see something created from the ground up. Again, not making excuses, but we
I definitely
go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say, I definitely, like, I don't disagree with you, because like I actively remember when I decided that I was going to spend less money on what worked and focus on more who was behind the brand. And when I say my wallet cried with me, I was like, yes, you're going to adjust accordingly. And we're going to spend $5 more for this one brand out in Arkansas to support this Black woman. And the product may or may not work. But if it does, we'll just have to get used to the new budget, okay? Like, we just have to get used to it. And at first it was weird. It definitely like caused me to, like, you know, break down classism, you know, flashy stuff, like, you know, we had to walk around with like a Dolce & Gabbana bag or whatever. Like, I personally love makeup, and like, when I say I was out here pining for these big old brands and then realizing the people behind them were trash, and then I shifted to just Black-owned brands, and then I was just like, okay, what about small Black-owned brands? Like, there's this one company called Lace by Terry, and when I say, like, I wasn't even going to question it. I think I came across them on TikTok, and I think I saw their palette. They had, like, their stuff was selling out all the time. So the moment their stuff became available, they were like, hey, we have this $130 box of makeup that we're selling for $100, and we also take Afterpay. And I'm just like, say less. I don't know if your makeup is good or not, but you're going to get this money. And then now the makeup, top tier quality. I'm looking at everyone else like, Jeffree Star could never. But like, it definitely was a shift, because like, if you told me I was going to spend $100 on a box of makeup, I would look at you like you're crazy. I would have gone to Walmart and buy my $5, $8 CoverGirl palette and call it a day. But now when people, like, you know, see my makeup and everything, they're like, oh, who do you get it from? Like, where'd you get it from? I'm like, no, this is an exclusive. This is a top quality TikTok name brand company from sisters out in Missouri. You can't just get this anywhere. Like,
I'm with you on that.
Like, I do like that. I think I hope that's the push going forward to get more. I mean, big designers who've been around for a long time, that is great, but the accessibility that is now available for a lot of creators to really be and really compete in the same spaces as like these names that have lasted for 30, 40, 100, I don't know how old these brands are, years. I'm willing to I'm happy to see that, and I'm hoping for more of that. And I do my best to try to also you know, support where I can, even if it is just somebody printed something. I know they printed it in China, but like, it's their logo and it's their stuff. Not saying that's not you, Barr, that's somebody else. But like, I have an original from yours. But like even with that, like somebody's logo is on something and that's what you want to, stickers that somebody got printed from Canva, that's enough for me, because I know that was something that they put their effort into and that money goes back to them. So I love that as a marketer, seeing people do that more and being able to support and purchase. I have so many stickers. I have nowhere to put stickers because I'm really weird about stickers. But like if you make stickers, I have your stickers. You're down there on my thing. I have Yarn Goddess stickers. I have so many. So that I want to see more of a shift, like you were saying, what both of you guys have been saying about being able to really rep those brands that even if you haven't met them or you're not part of it, like you feel part of their community from knowing them on social or seeing them at a convention or actually being friends with them, and you can really promote and push them stuff and give them the visibility they need to reach that that level of, we can't make any more this month, but thank you for all the sales, and then just please go to join our wait list.
My personal favorite thing, like there's a silk maker out in North Carolina I buy from all the time, and every time like I go out of my way to have like an emergency $20 somewhere, because it still be like, oh, only one item left, and I'll be like, nope, mine sold out now. Your whole store gone. Like every time she does that, like I think it's done like 4 times now. Like every time she's just like, "Why are you like this?" I'm like, "Girl, because you said one left, and I said not today. I said it's fine." But
I said sold out. It's sold out.
Listen, it's my favorite thing. Like when I see that, like when I see her or any small creator post, "Oh my gosh, you guys, thank you so much. I'm sold out of this item." I am personally just like, "You're welcome." You're welcome.
It's a good feel.
And, and claps and applauding the new world. I know it's a lot of challenges, but now people can get their stuff seen by people that would have never seen it before, through social media, through online stores. So that I hope is helping. You can cut the overhead and not have a brick and mortar now, and you can sell from your house. And I'm loving some of those changes for people because they can concentrate on the product. They can lower the prices sometimes and still get their worth now that they don't have to pay for some building and some staff that they couldn't afford, that they were not getting the orders in as much. You can do it to order. I'm really appreciating a lot of that. It's just, as we all stated, you just want to make sure we're promoting them and pushing them as much as we can. And when you get a good product, and try people out. My sister, love her. She'll get something because she's still, Chanel girl, Hermes girl, but she'll get that. But then she'll say, you know what? I walked past, this lady was making purses. I'm going to get that one too. So at least she's doing simultaneous buys. She's like, I'm buying this, but I'm buying this. And then she'll rock the other one. She'll rock it. And she don't have a problem saying this one is better than the designer one that I have.
Oh yeah, I think it is just that conscious shift though, because like there's some things that I still shop from big businesses because my income will not allow for anything else. It's like, girl, you just bought a $28 palette. I'm like, okay, and I'm trying to get the $15 foil. From
we got a convention coming up. We need to get wigs now, so we got to go through Amazon. I mean, we were just talking about the Amazon commercial earlier, how they were like definitely a very beautiful Black centric commercial, and we're like, why? But you're not really going to be, I hope nobody is shamed for the convenience of it. Like we do that very easily, but sometimes that's just what is necessary. It may not be like Amazon every time, but it's where you live nearby. Like we want to make sure we are supporting in both spaces, but we are all human and we all have our limitations of things. So if you have to shop at Walmart, but you hate Walmart, like sometimes you just got to shop at Walmart, but you can make cognitive decisions to support where you want to when you can.
Yes.
And with that, we are at our end of our hour.
What?
Yes.
Already?
Wow.
Yes.
Always,
whenever there's good conversation, it always goes so quickly at all. That's the one part they definitely have to do for big panels like this, a conversation. They have to schedule them for an hour and a half, 2 hours. I hate when they do an hour panel, especially even in person, because it's like,
Did we answer your question? Did we answer all your questions? I don't even know if we did.
Well, we covered a lot. I knew we weren't going to cover all the questions that we were going to. I was like, we're going to talk about what we're going to talk about, and then we're going to go.
Our next question was like, so music, question mark, and then we were just going to go off on that. But like,
I feel like we covered a lot. Like we covered
the culture, we covered the fashion. We did a little bit of music, but mostly fashion and the culture.
Well, as we already said earlier, you know, Black people have contributed to basically everything until proven otherwise. So we just talked about everything.
Yeah. True.
I'll take it as a win.
Exactly. It's a win. I call this the part one of this conversation. It needs to continue because a lot of people aren't talking about it in these spaces. But of course, for all of those that are watching this panel, please, like for each of you to give how everybody can be able to follow you and keep in touch. And of course, for your brands, if you sell anything or have anything for purchase, how they can purchase that so they can support a local and indie brand. So let's start with Renee.
Hi again, I'm Renee Cooper. You can follow me on Instagram at PeachyConPrincess. What I really sell is you coming to conventions, so or just watching them and supporting them, especially ones here in Atlanta. So DragonCon, of course, is happening, so please support. Thanks for watching this video. And then we have another convention. MomoCon actually moved to a Winterfest, and then they're going to do one next year. So I hope that you'll be able to come to both, but hopefully we'll see you later on in the year. And if you want to buy stuff, I do have a website. It's peachymade.com. I used to do maid cafes, but we're kind of on hiatus right now. But I also sell little things that I make and love talking about marketing when I have some time. So check out my website if you want to start a conversation or have questions about marketing stuff in general. So yeah, thanks.
And you could check out a couple of videos of hers. She has been on the Moana Nui Podcast. So if you go on YouTube and search for Moana Nui Podcast, you can actually see an interviews with her about marketing and so much more. So definitely, if you want to learn more about Renee, definitely go to Moana Nui Podcast and you can check out some of those videos. And then another person that's been on Moana Nui Podcast, Barr Foxx. Let's hear from you.
Whoa, what's going on? Okay, so you can reach me at Barr Foxx. That is with 2 R's and 2 X's on all social media. You can also follow me at Cosplay Your Way. Please check out the Cosplay Your Way documentary. It is good. Dana's in it, holding it down. I wanted y'all to be in it, but y'all couldn't catch you guys. But we're gonna get you next time, Renee.
Next time, yeah, next time.
Yeah, we'll get you next time. I'm doing another one. Hey, we might as well, right?
The sequel.
And, the sequel.
Okay.
So you can watch that on Freely TV or Influencer TV. If you're going to cons like South Africa or Comic-Con Africa, they're playing it as well. So you can check it out there. If you want to make purchases from me or my group, please go to Dean's List. He's the bomb, the bazam. So I'm selling a lot of stuff through his store. He's a custom costume designer, and is Dean's List with a Y, Lyst. And this is going to be airing during DragonCon. So I have like 8 panels. So please come to one. I know you don't want to meet 8 times, but like come to 2 at least.
Okay.
Please.
And also, finally, Yarn Goddess.
All right, so you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter under YG Cosplay, or you can just search Yarn Goddess Cosplay. I do have a store. It's ygcosplay.com, and over there is a plethora of plushies and laundry designs. Everything's crocheted by me, and I would definitely check it out. And listen, I have so much stuff over there now. Like, I remember starting my store, and I had like a couple items. Now I have like over 200 items listed. So like, it's a fun time over there. But also, if you're not looking to like, purchase any kind of crochet stuff, you want to support me, and my yarn habit, which is the drawers are full too. I can't open all of them up; they'll just spill over. You can find me on buymeacoffee.com/yarn goddess, and over there you can buy me some cake. You can support me and my little business over here, and help me with my yarn addiction, and also get behind the scenes content for like how I make my patterns, how I design stuff. I know this month this month is August. For August, I'm working on a cosplay tutorial for a cosplay I'm working on for this month. And I would definitely check it out because it's very detailed behind the scenes stuff. You get to know how I make what I do. So I highly recommend checking that out.
I'm sorry for the terrible me reaching thing, but I had to show that I also am a supporter of Yarn Goddess, and I got my little crown from her. So if I'd made sense, if I wanted to bring it all full circle, I would have worn my Cosplayer Away shirt too. But I again was not thinking. But yes, I support my friends, and Atlanta's great, so.
And we love you for it. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for
You've
giving me cool
done
things
it.
to have.
Always done it. Renee, when I tell you, I just want to say this. Renee is consistent.
Oh, yeah.
Renee has been absolutely wonderful since day one. I don't even want to tell how long we've known each other, but since that first day, just wonderful. She's been at my Cosno art shoots. She's just brought flavor, and I absolutely adore her. I really.
And you guys just tell me what to do. Like, if there's Black people there, I want to support. That's my goal. The reason I make money is to give it back to Black people. So like,
that's the embodiment of like.
There's the stickers.
I was going to say, because like, you have a bunch of my stickers too. Because like every time you do something, Renee, I just see your name pop up, and I'm just like, there she goes.
If it's not me, it's Chris. Someone's buying from you guys. I'm telling you, like it's we got a whole standard. My household will buy Black, so
we buy Black.
Exactly. Well, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Dana Morgan, as you can see on the bottom of the screen. You can find me at Danique Events. As you can see from my background, these are my photographs that I have done with Cosplay Your Way, with several cosplayers. But I am, you can follow me at Danique Events on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram. And then I am also a co-host with Moana Nui Podcast. We broadcast every Thursday at 7 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. Eastern, which we talk to lovely people as on this panel and many others. And then we also have panel discussions and other things that we have on the podcast that you can take to heart to learn about creatives, learn about topics like we're talking about today, and even we have segments such as Rain Talks that we have actual certified therapist that comes on and we talk about different topics. We've talked about grief, healthy conversations, and also coming up this month, we're going to be talking about depression. So a lot of topics that are tend to be those conversations that most people in the BIPOC community don't want to talk about. We're talking about on the show. So we thank all of you for tuning in for today's panel. Please definitely follow all of these amazing people on this panel. And also, if you are attending any of the panels in person at DragonCon, definitely check out some Renee with the anime track, Barr Foxx on several panels, and of course, be on the lookout for Yarn Goddess on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all that, and buy her cake, and even do a little crocheting with her with some of her crochet classes. So thank you everybody for tuning in, and have a great day and enjoy your DragonCon weekend. Bye everyone.